Welcome, everyone. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 903. This afternoon, going to talk about transferring programs and data, and not just fabs. So I have a couple great emails. Windows tips, a few things that I do the first thing when someone's been hacked. And I'll tell you what I run. We're going to talk about dynamic lock. Ooh, what is that? Don't worry. A search engine on AI steroids that, let's just say, we're AI search unleashed, where there's no limits to what you can search for. And then a Microsoft Office alternative for those that are interested in looking at that. First, I have to address the elephant in the room. Since I'm from Philly and I'm down in Florida, my whole family started texting me yesterday. The house is shaking and everything. My younger son was in an office and they all felt that 4.8 magnitude earthquake where the epicenter was in Lebanon, New Jersey, so northern Jersey, so that means a lot of New York felt it, and it shook things up pretty good, a 4.8. So that, I remember a few years ago when there was one where I think the epicenter was in Virginia and it came up. I was on the 5th floor of a client, and they were a financial advisor, and I'm in there, and the whole building just shook. It just shook. And everything, we're all looking at each other like, what was that? And then it shook again. And that was the scarier shake, that aftershock that was so quick right after. And I'll never forget something. And this is because I don't want to bring everybody down, but I started thinking of what happened at 9/11 in the towers. And my goal, and I'm like on the 5th floor, is to get out of that building. I mean, we don't know what it was. And over the loudspeaker for all the offices and everything, they're announcing, stay in place, don't take the elevator, everything. I gathered my computer and my stuff. I was like, I'm out of here. I'm heading outside to the parking lot. And everybody said, well, why aren't you staying? I said, you know what? If I'm going to die in an event like this, I'm going to do it trying to escape. And that's all I thought of. Get out, go down the steps, get out of the building. And that's what I did. And let me tell you, there was a line of people behind me as I am navigating the steps and getting out. And then, we found out, that it was an earthquake. And that was my only experience with an earthquake. And a lot of you probably have experienced it around the world that listen to this, and especially everybody in California and San Francisco area. So it's scary, when it's happening. But I just had to mention this because all my family was definitely impacted. But everybody's safe. Everything's fine. And I'm glad there was minimal damage. There was some damage to a couple buildings in some places, but no real injuries that I'm aware of from the news. So anyway, hope everybody's safe and sound, and I want to get started this afternoon. Couldn't do the show Thursday, and I realized that early on, and it was a combination of client work, not feeling up to it. So I am so glad I rescheduled for Saturday afternoon right now as I record this. And real quick, a thank you, shout out to Seth from Magnus Box for getting back to me so quickly. I emailed support last night, had a client where their peer server had stopped backing up and was having some troubles, and Seth looked into it, made some adjustments and everything, and had a successful backup today. So thank you for getting back to me so quick. I greatly appreciate it and wanted to give a shout out. So let's go to some emails. right away because I received 2 from Buildwire. And one, he sends me a link on how Microsoft will restore your PC's layout plus your data on a new PC. That was from PC World. And then he sent me another one with a link for LapLink PC Mover Professional. Now, everybody knows that I love Fab's Auto Backup. And what I am doing now is I'm on my test machine, which is up in the office in Pennsylvania. And one of the first links that's going to be in the show notes, and there's a lot of links for today's show. Don't worry. You go to MikeNation.net, and the last show is always posted right up front, and you'll be able to get to all the links. And remember, you can scroll, you can search, and get links to other shows. The first link is what I often talk about, and we use it all the time, and that's Auto Backup. And I am an affiliate, so this link, if you purchase any of these products, I'll get a small percentage commission. So I would appreciate it, and I really like that. Let's go to LapLink PC Mover Professional version 11. Now, what Bill sent me here, I used LapLink years ago, and it used to come with a cable, and that cable is what you would link 2 computers together so you could transfer not just the data, but the programs. I have not used this in years and years. So I'm unfamiliar with the new PC Mover Professional and formerly LapLink. And what I'm clicking on to buy. Now, this is just for one migration, and it's $34.95. And if you're just if you need to really move your programs, then you definitely want to take a look at LapLink PC Mover, because it's going to help you move your software. Where Fabs doesn't move the software, but it moves all the data and a lot of settings. And I would love someone who used both to compare for me. That would be great. Now, interesting, someone in the chat, XO, because I'm displaying a screen, he says, are you still using a 4.3 monitor? Well, because of the high def that I'm broadcasting in, the resolution would be too small. So I'm going to the display settings here, and I'm doing a 1024 by 768 display because it can do so much more, the resolution. But I'm doing it so you can read along with me on the video. And I found that resolution is the best. So the monitor can do significantly more. And actually, thinking of a monitor, there's actually no monitor connected. And I'm doing remote via Synchro, and I get to adjust the virtual display to whatever setting I want. So that's pretty cool. So check out LapLink PC Mover. Remember, we got Fabs. And then here's the article. Microsoft is making migrating to a new PC much easier. And this is provided you're signed into a Microsoft account. Moving from one PC to the next will be even easier. So something that Microsoft is going to be continuing to develop is the ability to restore apps. So setting up Windows 11 with a local account can be done, but the company preserves its best features for those who provide the company with a Microsoft account. So, of course, Microsoft constantly hitting us with wanting to log in with their account, which is interesting because later in the show, I have some emails from a chat person. I don't think he's in the chat today, but USS Rover sent me some interesting links and a document that I converted to a PDF, and I'm going to have you link, and that is ways to get around creating a local account, to get around creating your Microsoft account and be able to log into Windows 11 with a local account. Now, I've talked about that where you can log in as, well, you know what? I'll get to that when I get there. Anyway, this is an interesting read. So from PC World, that's talking about how you can, with Microsoft's help, move your data. So glad to see Microsoft doing it. Not sure how good it's going to be. And, we'll have to wait and see. Right now, I've been using Fabs for years. And you can buy the technician's license so you can use it on multiple computers. I don't know if LapLink offers that, but it's something that, probably worth looking into. So let's see. I want to, let's minimize that. We'll come back to it. Now I'm back to my local screen here so I can get to my show notes. All right. So a couple quick tips. When I get to a machine where someone has allowed a bad actor to connect to their computer, and I always learn about this after the fact. And one of my clients, their mother, was allowed a person to log in, and once they realized that this isn't right, and they want a credit card, and they want, she shut the computer off. Great move. So glad she did that. But she did allow them in. So here's what I want to do, which is demonstrate what would you do? What's the first thing you should do? And there's lots of things on how to approach this. First you want, run your antivirus program, and, I'll run my Malwarebytes, I'll run Adware Cleaner, but I'm doing something now which you want to see if they created some additional accounts. And a quick way to do that is NetPLWiz. And so I have a link for a website that talks about it, but if we just do a Windows run or right click and go NetPLWiz, what that brings up quickly is all the users. And if you don't like one of those users, like right now you're looking at just user, and that's our default on the test machine, and it's in the local administrator group, that's the only user. If I seen something there that looks suspicious, remove it. Highlight it and click remove. There's another program that I always try to run, and that's MRT. And when you run this, it takes a second to load, but it's the built-in Microsoft Windows malicious software removal tool. And this could take some time, but it's quick and you don't have to download anything. It's built into the system. So when I remote in, I look for other users that I want to remove, and then I run this. And I have a YouTube article on how to run it, but that I'm going to put in the show notes, but it's real easy. You just run MRT, and I've demonstrated this once before, and I'm not going to run the whole scan, but you got a quick scan, a full scan, and a customizable scan. And this is, definitely worth looking at. All right. So now let's get back. There's the link to the YouTube on how to run that. It's only 3 minutes. I like to put everything I talk about, try to put a link rather than just list the program. So that's how I'm just trying to help out here a little bit. Next, this is interesting that I ran into. Lock your Windows PC automatically when you step away from it. Now, there's a Windows 11 and a Windows 10 instructions on this link, and you just click. Now, I'm still using Windows 10. You can pair your phone, as long as you have Bluetooth, you can pair your phone and then follow the steps. You go settings, account sign-in options, and under dynamic lock, allow Windows you select to automatically lock your device when you're away. I did this on my computer here. So when I leave the room with my phone, the computer automatically locks. That's like hitting Windows L, the letter L, the Windows key and the letter L at the same time. And that's another quick automatic lock when you're walking away. But a lot of people forget. And if you're taking your phone, well, maybe you're going to be away for a little bit. This was very interesting. Now, it's annoying for me when I take my phone because I'm in and out of my office and there's nobody else here. So what am I protecting myself from? But just for the exercise of testing this out, and it absolutely works. So here's the instructions for Windows 10, Windows 11. You may have a client or yourself that this actually is something that they might be interested in, and I just wanted to arm you all with that. So pretty cool. So I like tips like that. So here's another one. Windows and the letter I, and then you pick gaming. That's just going to settings. You pick gaming and turn off everything for the gaming. The Xbox game bar, turn off the game bar, then capturing, turn that all off. It's just things that's going to help you, the performance of the system. As one of the things I always do, first time I'm logging into a new client, after I solve their problem, to upsell more time and also take care of them, I offer, can I clean up your system? I see a lot of programs. Do you have an Xbox? And they're like, no. And you know, by default, Windows puts that there. So I'll go to the programs and apps and start removing if they're not touching any games. And if they got a residential computer, not a business, then there's a lot of games, Candy Crush and all, you know what I'm talking about. And so I'll go in there and remove all of that. And while I'm on the phone, I'll say, hey, what about this program or something I don't recognize? And I'll see, is it something that they use? But clean up all of the programs that are just clogging up the system that there's no reason to have them. Then I'll run Task Manager, go to the startup items and start disabling almost everything that's not necessary to start up. So already 2 clients this past week that I got calls where they let someone into their system, I quickly see if there's other users. Then I'll run the MRT. Then I download Adware Cleaner from Malwarebytes. I run that. After that, I then talk them out of I talk them into letting me remove all the antivirus junk that they have, where they might have Norton or McAfee or Avast or whatever they have. I get rid of it. I put Malwarebytes Premium on there and I run it. And what's the first thing on one of these machines? Malwarebytes found 56 bad items. So right away, it's like, why isn't Norton blocking malware? Why isn't McAfee blocking malware? It's amazing how many, and this isn't just junk things that Malwarebytes will really find bad things. And so that's something I run, and then I sell, the subscription for a year because it's the premium. That's my approach to speeding up a system and very simple, very easy to do, easy to run, and gets the system cleaned up. So I just wanted to review all of that. Now, a couple things before we hit some stories from the trenches. And I want to demonstrate, I'm going to bring up my test system again and bring up Andi Search, ANDI search.com. Why am I bringing this up? I came across this, I forget where I was reading it from, and what Andi does, it's an AI search tool, unrestricted. You can search anything. I mean, anything. So let's just leave it at that rather than me actually show examples. I think it's worth exploring, and check it out. You may want this to be your default search, because I started searching for things that, ChatGPT I'm not allowed to search for that, or I can't help you with that. And Andi had no problem helping me. So we'll just, you get the message. So definitely check it out. Also, I think I was reading this in a response to a help article where someone wrote into the magazine and looking for, they were having trouble, I think, with LibreOffice. Well, I never heard of this. And it looks, boy, it looks so good, the programs. And it's free, and it's called OnlyOffice. So if you have, I guess, a parent or a grandparent or somebody that, you don't want to have to buy, and they don't need a real Microsoft full license for Microsoft 365, try it for free. And I think there's a Linux add-on for this, and I think it'll work for across all operating systems. So that's pretty cool. And I just wanted to let everybody know. And that link, of course, onlyoffice.com will be in the show notes, so you don't have to worry about remembering this as you're listening. You can just say, wow, man, this show 903, there's so many things to listen to. So here are some things that I had to work on that are some stories from the trenches. And this really goes along with Thursday with the work that I had to do, an emergency restore of a 56 gig FileMaker database. The FileMaker server crashed, and it was an older system. And now I'm talking with the owner of the business that does house inspections and radon tests, and their custom FileMaker software is on a local peer server, and we have it where when their users, the employees, they can use it right from an iPad and can get right in. We have the forward set up and everything for FileMaker, and it's been working great. It runs their business, and now the system's offline. Instead of just fixing the computer and rebooting and getting it, because the hard drive crashed, I restored the database to the owner's PC right from Magnusbox, from the last successful backup, which was actually the night before. So this crashed in the middle of the night, which was a good thing. So we had a successful backup. I'm doing that restore, which it's going to take a long time. But while that was going on, the developer for the program recommended go to the hosted solution. And we had talked about doing this. Well, rather than fix the computer and it's going to be around the same time, let's go directly hosted solution. So the person who developed the FileMaker got the host set up, everything. Then I uploaded the database based on the instructions. And once that uploaded, and actually uploaded pretty quick to the host, the FileMaker host. And now we quickly tested it as I'm remoted in, and so is the FileMaker developer. He was remoted in. So it's funny. He connected via Teams and I connected via Synchro, and we were able to, work together while we were on the phone. Once that was all uploaded, then I had to install the new version 20 on all their computers because the hosted version didn't work with version 18, which is what everybody had. So now it's interesting. So the FileMaker download is only 64-bit. So we learned this years ago. I installed it on the systems. Now, anybody that had Office 365 64-bit has no problem connecting Outlook to the FileMaker program. But if you have a different bit, if you're 32-bit, it won't work. It'll error out. They have to match the same bit as FileMaker. And we discovered this a long time ago when there was an issue. So I had 3 systems. I had to uninstall Office 365 32-bit and put the 64-bit, which then led into, this is Thursday. So that's why Thursday night, there was no way I would have been able to do the show, as luck would have it. I was available to take care of all these problems. So that was my Thursday. Something else I'm running into, and it's all of these crazy places where you can buy names. And I have a client that has their domain name with Earthlink. And boy, that's a name from the past. Now, they're going to be doing a new website on Squarespace. And one of the nightmares, I remember doing an email migration for this client, was getting the DNS and making the changes. So here's the problem. We're going to migrate first. I want GoDaddy. I want them to set up a GoDaddy account. We're going to transfer the domain. Make sure it's all set and done with the name servers for GoDaddy so I can make the necessary changes when they implement the Squarespace. So we're getting ahead of this right now to make sure that we have the DNS available. Another account that just happened yesterday. My son is on site. This is an insurance company for auto and house insurance, and 3 new systems. Now we're installing their Office 365, and they are SureWeb hosted. Now, I don't know what happened, but years ago, I remember editing their DNS for making sure that the MX records and everything was fine. I didn't realize there was no auto discover. We could not authenticate Outlook with any of the users. And we're like, wait a second, this is crazy. Why? Why? And my son quickly talked to tech support for SureWeb, and the first thing they noticed is, hey, you don't have an auto discover record. Get that in there, and then everything's going to work. And they were right. And I have access, and it's A+. So A+ is not a real registrar for ICANN. So what happens when I make a DNS change, God only knows how long it's going to take before it's going to actually be posted up. So luckily it's a Friday, and this is something I still got to do tonight or tomorrow, because their chat, when I was chatting with the tech, said it takes 48 hours for them to process a DNS change. 48 hours. I can be 15 minutes to a half hour when I make the change in GoDaddy. So talking with the owner, we're going to, after I get this all set up, we're going to migrate from A+ to GoDaddy. So that's another one. And I'm bringing this up because, not that I love GoDaddy so much, But for DNS management, it's perfect. It's fast. It works. So I don't trust GoDaddy for email. Well, even though I don't trust them for web hosting, my main website is hosted there for the Mike Tech Show. But knock wood, we haven't had any issues. And now that I said that, there'll be tremendous issues going forward. I just jinxed it. But most of my clients, their email's hosted somewhere else, their website's hosted somewhere else. But I want the domain in GoDaddy so it's easy to make changes and they will replicate quickly. And that to me is the most important, thing. So before we get to more email, there's a magazine that's something I don't talk about much. And I have the 2023 version of this. And it's the Linux and Open Source Annual 2024. I'm not into Linux, but I don't want to ignore it because I know I have a base of listeners that use Linux and support Linux. But when I came across this magazine, this is worth getting just to keep you abreast of all the different versions and everything happening, what's going on in open source. But it's Linux and Open Source Annual 2024. Absolutely take a look at it. That's, I believe, worth purchasing. Ooh, okay. Let's get to some email. And here we go. This is from Kate. And this is in response to me talking about sharing files between your phone and your PC. And Kate's an Android user. She goes, Google has a native way for Android users to share. There's no need to download anything. It used to be called Nearby Share, and it is on pre-Android 11 versions, but has been overhauled and is now called Quick Share. It is super convenient, flexible, and easy to use. I will link. Thank you for sending me the link for the Google blog that talks about that. So very, very cool. Thank you, Kate. I really appreciate that. Let's get to the rest of the emails. Here we go. This is from Michael, and let me bring this up. Okay. This is interesting. It's a Cash App research is the title, and he forwarded to me and he says, this looks fake, but I am not sure. It might be a warning to others if it is. I did Google some URL checkers and they came back as it could be a scam, and it absolutely is. And one of the ways to tell is the link was from Japan. And when you take a look at the link, it ended in a .jp. This brought up a reminder of something. Cash App. And this is something I used Cash App like once because it was the only way I could pay for something, and I had to use Cash App. So I put very little in that. And ever since I have that, I get false requests to accept payment. Never, ever, ever, ever accept a payment you weren't expecting, whether it be Venmo, whether it be Cash App. I don't care what pay service you're using. Never accept, because here's what's going to happen. Well, this is one of the biggest scams, is they send you, let's say, $500, but it's from a fraudulent credit card, which takes a day or two before it's going to be removed from your account. And what they do is they send you the $500 and say, oh, look, I did that by mistake. Can you Venmo me back the $500? Or, you know what, keep $100 for your, for the inconvenience. Just send me back $400. Well, guess what? The 400 you're never going to be able to undo. But the 500 that was initially sent to you, you're going to lose also, because that was used with a compromised credit card. That's why you never, ever want to accept a payment that you weren't expecting. And that's the thing. It's like opening up an email. Yesterday, I had work for someone called me. They opened up an email that was from someone they trust, but it had a link to get into OneDrive. So they used their Microsoft credentials, which then their email was compromised and started sending out the same type of email to everybody on their address list. So I had to clean that up. They had to change the password. We had to get rid of the rules that were automatically posted from their account. And that's just, you can't trust even people you trust. If you're not expecting a link or a document, you must communicate to all of your clients and everybody, don't open it. Even though it looks good, don't open it. If you weren't expecting it, don't open it. Don't log in. So that's how email is so easily compromised. This is just, things that, I want everybody to remember and to educate so we can stop people being compromised. The final two emails are from USS Rover. And he sent me a document. This is Windows 11 to set up a full install of Windows 11 Pro using Rufus, but making the edits so you can do it without a Microsoft account. So if you want to build a Windows 11 Pro that allows you to not have to create a local account, this is the document you need. And he built a Word document and sent that to me. And Rover, what I did, I made it a PDF and I'm posting it. I'm hosting it on my website. And so there'll be a link in the show notes on downloading that PDF. So I want to thank you very, very much, Rover, for sending that. That, I think, is it for tonight. Let me go back to all my notes. And I think I covered everything. So, wow. I'm really glad. Okay. Don't forget, hey, best way to support the show, go to MikeTechShow.com, or which will flip you to MikeNation.net. There is a donation button in every show notes that takes you to PayPal. You can do a one-time donation. Anything is appreciated to help support the show. That's one of the best things you can do. If you're not subscribed, go to YouTube and go to Michael Smith MTS. And there is the video for all the shows for the past couple years. And click subscribe. I really appreciate it. You can email me the tips and response to anything. That is very simple. It's MikeTechShow, one word, @gmail.com. Thank you for staying subscribed and listening to the show. I really appreciate it. Everybody have a great weekend, depending on when you're listening to this. Should be back normal time Thursday night next week. So I'll see you then. Bye-bye.